So it's a 2-bed bungalow. We bought it for 110,500. The 500 was very important because they made me put £500 in, so I won it.
Yeah, why did they do that? Yeah.
So we bought it for 110,500. It had auction fees on it and things like that of about 7,000. The refurb on that has been approximately 40,000. Make sure, plus stamp duty and everything as well. The other thing we do as a refurb as standard really is we put presscrete outside. So from the curb appeal point of view, when the valuer turns up, it looks, we've not power washed the front and they're all crappy old slate or stone or whatever. It's all nice outside. So sorry, 110,500 purchase price, 7,000 approx fees, 40,000 refurb, and we've just had that refinanced for 200,000.
Okay, great. So how much money are you leaving in that deal roughly?
So I think it's about £9,000 off the top of my head. Yeah, around 9,000, which is pretty good for how we had additional things on there because the garden ended up being worse than what we anticipated and things. So we planned for a little bit of presscrete, but the garden actually needed landscaping and things. So yeah, around 9,000 left in.
Okay, great. And then what would, if that was a standard AST let, what would that sort of generate in rent, and what does it generate in terms of you working with a supported living provider there?
Yeah, so standard rental around theirs, because it's a bungalow, they do dictate a little bit more. But standard rental's around £1,100 a month.
Yeah, which it wouldn't really work, would it, as a single let particularly well? So
no, it's only a 2-bed, so it would only be a little family or a little old couple, really. So
yeah,
which I don't mind taking. We could rent it to a little old person, but the turnover and stuff.
yeah.
And for the supported living, we get approximately £1,500 a month for that.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a significant uplift there in terms of the rent, and perhaps more akin to kind of HMO profit returns rather than a single let return, but without the HMO management side of things.
Yeah. Like you said before, we sign 5-year contracts, which means that once we've done the hard work of getting the house across the line, we hand it off. We are still hands-on in that if the care provider or the registered provider needs anything looking at, because we're closer to them generally, we don't mind going around and looking at them. But ultimately, the person that's moved in there needs to be left to live as independently as possible, so we don't interact with them once they're moved in. So actually it's quite a hard road to get there, but once it's there, it's handed off, and that's the end of it for us, type thing. So on to the next. The mortgage is slightly more because it's a specialist lending, so the interest rate's slightly higher. But again, that's why it's important to speak to the broker as soon as we can to make sure we can get it financed.
And so, in terms of a business, you'd be looking for a kind of certain return on capital left in the deal. Is there a sort of benchmark on that? Do you have a target saying, well, we're not going to do this if it doesn't return X to us, or it's not economically viable, or we could deploy that money elsewhere if that were the case? So
we tend to work to a 20% return. So if it's less than 20%, we don't tend to look at it. Houses seem to be at the moment.
Get smarter with every deal at ypn.plus.